Man, I need a hug. Dear Evan Hansen is the film adaptation of the hit Broadway musical and is directed by Stephen Chbosky, who brought us Wonder and The Perks of Being a Wallflower. The star of the stage play, Ben Platt, reprises the titular role, a high schooler with social anxiety disorder who has few friends and wonders if his destiny is for his life to go unheard. But when a classmate of his named Connor commits suicide, a series of misunderstandings lead Connor's parents to believe that Evan was their son's closest friend. Desperate to make a connection with others, Evan goes along with the story, and it leads him on a journey of self-discovery. Prior to now, I knew virtually nothing about the play. I only heard one or two songs from it. One song that I know I heard was Sincerely Me, and from that song, I assumed that the show was a comedy. So imagine how taken aback I was when I click on the trailer for the movie expecting to get a good laugh, but instead I'm watching and I'm like, oh my gosh, this is sad. And the movie certainly does live up to that trailer. Dear Evan Hansen is a richly emotional story filled with multi-dimensional characters brought to life by passionate acting from the whole cast. I do take some issue with now 28-year-old Ben Platt playing a 17-year-old, which funny enough is the exact same distracting age difference with Michael J. Fox in Back to the Future Part 2. But I was able to brush it off because of just how dripping with emotion he is playing this depressed young man. Much has been made about Platt's performance on stage, so since I never got to see the play, it was great to see it shine here. And at times, there's some quick-cut editing that not only blends with the music, but also conveys the anxiety and insecurity going on in Evan's mind, most auspiciously in the opening song sequence. As for the new supporting cast, they are all equally fantastic. Amy Adams plays Connor's optimistic mother, and I already knew from some of her past roles that she could sing, but there are several other surprising vocal performances here, from Daniel Pino, Caitlin Dever, Julianne Moore, and Amanda Stenberg. And what they all do so well is that when it gets to their singing parts, they don't cease to act in favor of drawing attention to how good they sound. They maintain the emotion in their voices and expressions. The movie tells an encouraging story about overcoming loneliness and depression, while also serving as something of a cautionary tale about the lengths that one might go to when they are almost literally dying to be heard. Speaking as someone who once had thoughts of taking my own life, I felt that the way this movie dealt with the topic of suicide and anxiety was elegant and very impactful. This is most commendable when in recent years we've gotten a few movies like Me Before You, which I found deeply problematic in how it handled the topic, especially because it involved assisted suicide. The most iconic track from the play is the Showstopper, You Will Be Found, an epic anthem about how people who go through our exact same troubles and insecurities are all around us. When the movie arrived at the song and the choir came in the back half of it, I was so uplifted, I honestly felt like hugging myself. With the songwriting duo of La La Land and The Greatest Showman, all of the musical numbers are terrific. Sincerely Me is hilariously edited, and the song itself is even funnier than I thought now that I know who's singing what part. It's quite ironic that that was the one that I heard that I assumed spoke for the entire play, because the one problem with it is that it's the only musical number like it in the movie. The rest of the songs are all tearjerkers. There could have been one or two more akin to it, because, as is, you can get a little exhausted from all the waterworks this movie triggers. Each individual character's story about them reckoning with their sadness and confusion, as well as the melancholy ballads that go with them, they're all very strong. I just feel that there's a few too many of them. Also on occasion, the movie does seem a little unfettered in how the musical element works. Like during the opening song Waving Through a Window, while Evan's mom is driving him to school, Evan is singing while his mom appears to be talking to him. We can't hear her, but her mouth is moving. From that, the early impression I got was that the musical element of the movie is in Evan's head, but no, from then on, other characters are singing even while Evan's not around. When Evan is singing in the crowded gymnasium and no one takes any notice, that works, but his mom not taking any notice of him singing over the top of her doesn't really gel with the logic the movie goes by. There are two original songs in this movie, one of which is called The Anonymous Ones, sung by Amanda Stenberg's character Alana, who is a successful student who pushes herself above and beyond to achieve. The song gives depth to her that the stage play apparently didn't. She reveals to Evan that she has mental health issues of her own, and she proceeds to sing about those people who seem so full of life but are hiding a lot of heavy burdens. With film adaptations of stage musicals, we've come to accept that they're going to throw in one or two songs as Oscar bait, but even so, this is one of the movie's most powerful scenes. Now, despite how much you feel for Evan, the movie doesn't downplay his predicament that has arisen because of him making it out that he and Connor were the best of friends, or how progressively more serious it becomes. Connor's family finds some relief knowing that their son and brother wasn't as bad a kid as they thought. A crowdfunding campaign is started under Connor's name, and Evan is congratulated by his school for reaching out with his message of how we're not alone. And yet it all happens because of a lie. Through the movie, I thought to myself, there's no realistic way that this could result in an overwhelmingly happy ending. And I have to give further credit for the fact that it doesn't, which from what I've read is actually a deviation from the musical. While it's not a totally perfect world in the end, it manages to wrap up in a way that still feels conclusive and hopeful for the lead character. So I really got swept up in this movie. I could have used one or two more upbeat scenes to balance out the heartbreak, but I was engaged, I tapped my foot, and yes, I may have shed a few tears. And I could tell there was enough of that going around at the screening I attended. One person was even mouth open sobbing. If you've dealt with depression, or if you've ever felt alone or forgotten in any way, I think there'll be something here for you to identify with. Dear Evan Hansen, on the Fact or Facts, you get an 82%. Sincerely me. That's a wrap, thank you for watching, I hope you found this review helpful. Like and share, subscribe for more. This is Pop Culture, I'm Alex Pop.